Hey everybody, welcome back. TGIF. It is Friday again. I can't even believe it. Where did this whole week go? I don't even know, guys. I don't even know. I have to start out by apologizing before I get into all of the hellos. I wasn't going to actually do a live tonight, and the reason being was IFT-8 was supposed to launch today on the 28th, and then they pushed it back to Monday. So I didn't have a little placeholder out there, so there's not going to be too many people tonight. So it'll be very intimate, a few of us, but that's okay. I figured I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to do it anyway. So bear with me. I apologize. Normally I do put that placeholder out there, either the day of, sometimes even a day before. I'm trying at least. Right now there is a placeholder for Monday, and that's going to be, I believe, at about 5 o'clock. I should go live, maybe 4:30, somewhere on there. I believe I think IFT-8 goes off at, I believe, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Don't quote me because it's always like very liquid. It has to do with weather, FAA approval, all kinds of other stuff. So we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully it goes up. It's going to be a big one. And we could talk about that a little bit tonight because I'm really excited about this one because there's so many things going on with IFT-8 that there's a lot of room for error. Let's just put it that way. And since IFT-7 ended up blowing up, there's a lot of things that were put on that ship that was never tested. So they're all in this one. And then with some upgrades. So this one doesn't blow up. Anyways, so let me see who's here. Who do we got? Peter, thank you for being here. Peter Gosling's here. Thank you. Thank you. Javier, welcome. New member. Javier, thank you for being here. Who else do we have? Kevin, Ricky Joe, how are you doing? Honey Badger is here. Our GSD rules. Thank you. Happy Friday to you. Orchid, hello everyone. Hello Friday. Good. Starlink. Go Starlink. Go Starlink. Yeah, Starlink is doing quite well. Quite well. I've been getting people on the show lately, like in the comments, saying stuff like, if you talk about Elon Musk anymore, I'm not going to watch your channel anymore. I know it sounds like ridiculous and comical, but honestly, I've been getting stuff like that. People just can't put their emotions aside and then just look at everything else. Everyone's so emotional about everything that they just can't get like a clear thought. There's people that I know that purchased Elon Musk Teslas, right? Love them. Absolutely just went nuts about them. Best things to slice bread. Now they want to sell them because Elon Musk is, I don't know, working with the president and doing the DOGE thing. So it's really, really crazy. To me, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how people are today. I don't get it. I mean, even if you don't like him, maybe he's doing something good. So then you're going to say that he's doing something good, right? Wrong. That's not how it works. Anyways, people are like not watching the channel anymore because I talk about Elon Musk. This is a SpaceX and tech channel. So, I don't know. But anyways, it's kind of comical, but this is what happens. Gabby Rose, thank you for being here from Canada. Thank you. David is here. Bob Williams is here. Let me see. What's our tea flavor tonight? Tonight we have Fireside. I love Fireside. I was going to have some stormy weather because my son is sick again. And I'm like, stormy weather I came up with as a means of clearing stuff out. But I'm not congested yet. So I'm kind of fighting it. I'm taking the zinc and all the rest of the stuff. So today it is definitely Fireside. So good. So another thing I get, people say, you're not really drinking tea when you're doing doing your videos in the morning. And I'm like, there's tea in the cup. I'm drinking tea every morning. It's not fake. It's literally in there. I don't know. Holy hell. It's crazy. You know what? I wonder if this will work. I got to do this just because, like, to me, I don't even know. I don't know. Let me see. Will that work? No? Maybe? Let me see. Let me see if I can get this to work. I just think it's comical. I really do. It's just nuts to me that people are just the way they are. No, it doesn't work. All right. Well, I have to fix my camera that I have up here. I want to show you guys that there's actually tea in here. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I've been getting weird stuff. Weird stuff. I don't know. I hit like, everything's been like kind of copacetic for 100,000, 120,000. And I like, now all of a sudden we're at 127,000, whatever it is. And I'm starting to get some people that are coming out of like the woodwork, coming out of the basement, crawling out. It's like, bro, just go back into the basement. Just craziness, crazy. Let's see. So that's the flavor. I absolutely love Fireside. I make it with Lapsang tea. If you don't know what that is, it's basically an Oriental tea that they dry, and instead of drying it in the sun, it's all organic, right? Not microwaved, not irradiated, and all the rest of the stuff, right? All organic. If not, I wouldn't use it. But it is a tea that is dried under or on top of smothering pine. So the tea has this smokiness to it. And if you like smoky, you would absolutely love Fireside. If you don't like smoky, you're never going to like it because it's got a real heavy smoke to it. It's really good. Anyways, yes, Dominic, thank you, Dominic, for being here. Let's go, IFT-8. Yes, there's so much goodness. I'm going to get into some of it. I'm excited about it. I think it's awesome. Once again, if you just got here, I have to apologize. I didn't put out there a thumbnail, like a placeholder saying that I was going to go live tonight because I really wasn't going to go live because supposedly IFT-8 was going to go up now, 28th, Friday, but they postponed it. They pushed it back to Monday. So if you go onto the channel, you'll see a live placeholder for Monday. I will be here Monday. Come and hang out with me. It's going to be a blast. I cannot wait. I mean, you're going to have the Mechazilla catch again. You're going to have them hopefully landing in the Indian Ocean, and even I think it's like 30 new cameras on board. You're going to be able to see those SpaceX Starlink duds be launched out of the Pez dispenser. They're going to be testing out metallic tiles. So instead of having just ceramic tiles that are passively cooled, is it ceramic, right? Like metallic tiles that are actively cooled. In other words, kind of like something that you have over your CPU, like you'd sandwich something over a CPU and then it would dissipate that heat through that copper plate, and then that plate is cooled. Like if you have a water-cooled system. Same thing that they're doing here. A lot of really good things. They've moved those flaps from 90 by 180 degrees, basically, 90, 180 degrees. They moved it into 120 degrees. Aft side, aft. So dorsal side, aft, dorsal, however you want to view it, basically out of the heat. So as it's coming back in through the atmosphere, they're going to be kind of tucked up a little bit so they're not just being blasted by this plasma, as we've seen in the past, where you start seeing the flaps start melting. The actual structure is still there, but the skin just slowly just kind of burns through. So they're going to fix that. That's something they need to fix. You can't replace the flaps all the time. We need 100% reusability here, right? Not replace flaps every time they come back. So that's one of the things that they're doing. There's a lot, actually. We'll go through that in a minute. Tim, thank you for being here. Fabian is here. Lopez, thank you so much. Mr. Rail Dude, 64, thank you, from San Antonio, Texas. We have David is here. Who else? Kevin. Let's see. Ricky Joe says, question. The strangest thing happened yesterday. I went to run speed test on my AT&T Internet Air, and instead of AT&T Internet, it says AT&T Enterprise now, which is weird because that's business. That's true. If you see AT&T Internet Air, that's just customer base, regular consumer. But yeah, you see Enterprise. The question I have for you, Ricky Joe, is it faster or is it the same? That's gonna make the big difference. That's gonna be the telltale right there. Let's see. Trippin Tom, how you doing? Or Terrapin Tom, how are you doing, Tom? Thank you for being here. Our GSD rules says those fair weather viewers likely were born after 2000. The millennial age. I know my kids are the millennial age, and it's like sometimes I don't know. I don't know. Um, yes, thin-skinned. Us oldies have more. Yes, stamina. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. People are just losing it lately, losing it. You see Elon Musk in there doing all this Doge stuff and finding just millions a here, billions there, just all kinds of bullshit. And it's like, some people will recognize it as being good that all of this fraud, it's waste, but it's fraud. It's literally defrauding the government. And when you defraud the government, you defraud us. So when we're paying taxes and they're stealing it, they're defrauding us. So I'm just glad that some of this stuff is coming to light. Just stupid things, just billions of dollars just pissed away. I don't know how else to nicely say it. And that's our taxpayer money. I mean, our taxes go up, yet they just keep, shuttling it off. I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, I hope he does a good job at just finding everything. Some of the people are saying, are we going to have to worry about him, like getting, let's say, better treatment than others? I mean, does he really need to get better treatment than others? I mean, like, for example, with SpaceX, is there any other space company out there? I don't care. You come up with anyone. Doesn't matter. ULA could be. You come up with a name. Is there anyone better than Elon Musk, SpaceX? There isn't any, and that includes the U.S. and abroad. There just isn't. Even the Chinese are trying to the best that they can duplicate what Elon Musk is doing, and they're blowing shit up. And they're trying, and it's very easy to copy something physically. But the internals of it, unless you have the schematics of what's going on, or you have an insider that's able to peel for you and take that and skim that data and shuttle it off, because they do, trust me, every corporation has spies built into it. That is it. 100% the case. That's why a lot of times you'll see like these duplicates and you'll look at it, you're like, I don't know how that was made, but that shit looks identical, but it actually works identical too. That's probably a problem. I'm going to guess. Anyways, David says, where is Fabiola tonight? She is away. She's not here this weekend. She'll be back on Monday. So actually, I don't know, but I'm going to try to get her on Monday for IFT-8 because it is later in the afternoon. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to, but we will see. I'm going to try to get her here for IFT-8. Robbie, thank you for being here. Good evening. Good evening. Let's see. Orchard says, do not have to prove you are drinking tea. Whatever. Some people just like making stupid comments. They really do. They really do. But when you do this and, the amount of emails that I get and the amount of comments, as you can imagine, is really a lot. But I have to say I would say 95 to 98% is just awesome. The people are absolutely awesome. When I see a lot of other channels, I kind of feel bad for the creators because there's so many trolls. God damn trolls. Just horrible. Just nasty. But I don't get that. Every once in a while I'll get an ass and it just happens, and I just blow it off because I don't, I really don't care. I wish I did, but I really don't care. I might have, give them a little flip it type of response to the nonsense, but I really, I just let it kind of roll off my back. It doesn't make too much of a difference to me. Let me see. Ricky Joe says, I meant JC above. Yes. Bob Williams. Let's see. Thank you for being here, Bob. Ricky Joe says, don't count the chickens before they're hatched. Laugh out loud. We thought that it was going to be IFT-7, but yeah, no, it's true. And it was unexpected, blew up. Yeah. So you just really don't know what ends up happening with these vehicles. And I talked about that with IFT-8. It was just, even at the time when it was going on, I was talking to you guys about it, and I said, just it's not right. Something's not right. I remember telemetry going down. I said, well, as soon as you see telemetry off and there's no more movement at all, that ship is gone. It is gone. They can keep talking or whatever, but it doesn't make a difference. At that point, the ship is history. Let's see. Bob says, I can't wait till IFT-9. Yeah. I'm planning on going to Starbase to watch the first ship catch. So that's something to talk about. I'm not going to drink any of my tea, my fake tea. So excuse me for that. Yeah, so Bob, I don't know if you're going to see a ship catch for IFT-9. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with what happens on Monday. If that ship does not blow up and it returns to the Indian Ocean, like the past ships, and it lands on the exact pinpoint spot that it's supposed to land, that means that it should be able to land perfectly to be caught by Mechazilla arms, right? But the thing is there's no arms available to catch it, because we're still waiting on the next launch site so that they have double Mechazillas, right? So as far as I know, unless I'm off somehow and I was under a rock for a couple of days and I missed something, I think there's still only one Mechazilla, and that's working. They are working on the second pad, but in that case, you're going to see a catch. But the catch will be not of Starship. You're going to see a catch of Super Heavy. So the booster rocket, which is fine. It's just cool as hell. I mean, can you imagine? Just think about this, right? A 33-story building flying through the air at the speed of sound. You can see it actually break the sound barrier as it's coming through. And then, like at the last minute, let's call it, not less than a minute, it ignites. It's 13 plus engines, 13 engines, I believe, and slows down and comes in at a perfect angle, shuts off the engines, only leaves 3 left. 3 engines that are fully gimbaling go and land it perfect, and then it gets caught. I mean, think about the mathematics in that. Having to take into account weather, wind velocity, just weight. You have different burns and how much fuel is left, and just craziness, absolutely crazy. The amount of data that it has to calculate to be able to get that to land. Once again, a 33-story building landing between those Mechazilla arms to be caught. I mean, I don't even know. They're a hell of a lot smarter than I am, I can tell you guys. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. When you see it, I mean, it literally looks fake. It's like, that can't even be. How is that even a possibility? But it's being done. Then again, there are some people that come on the channel and say that it's fake. There's actually no satellites, and the satellites that are there and the communication systems that are up there, they're actually on large weather balloons. And they're not actually in LEO or low Earth orbit, because we've never had a rocket actually leave the planet. A lot of green screening going on and all this stuff. And it's like these are like the flat earthers and stuff, and they're like serious and they believe this shit. And it's like, just like watch one of these rocket launches, right? You don't even need to just go there. You could be a mile away and you'll know that it's real, because you can feel the ground rumbling, the amount of power on those things. I remember with the space shuttle, not a lot of people, I'm a little bit older, were able to watch and discover, all the space shuttles launch. And it was just absolutely amazing how they were able to do that. And the sound, because remember, that's out of Cape Canaveral, and I'm only about 3 hours south of that launch site. So that's also really cool, guys, because when the Starbase is finished here in Florida, once again, 3 hours away, I'm going to be there. And on this channel, we're going to be doing a lot of coverage from the different launches. There's a really cool launch that just happened today, yesterday, day before, something. I don't know. They launched to the moon for a company with the Falcon 9, blah, 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 this whole thing. I'm gonna have to find that for you guys. I just thought that was just cool, really cool. They just did it. Anyways, moving on. Let's see who's here. Runboy 7426. Was this? Do you ever offer bulk sizes of your teas? I have not, and the reason being is all of the teas are handcrafted, so I don't really do it in bulk, but I could. So all of the bags and everything that I have are specific to a certain ounce, and that's what gets put into the bags. That being said, I mean, it's something that I can look into. Excuse me. Good question, though. I have to look into it. Good evening from Greenville, Tennessee. How are you doing, Dave? Ricky Joe says the speed is basically the same, but the latency is a little bit higher. Really? Excuse me. Higher latency. What the heck is going on with that, Ricky Joe? They're supposedly giving you enterprise, but they're giving you worse than standard. But that's AT&T, AT&T has always been crap, and I'm definitely not a fan of anything AT&T. You guys know that for sure. Not great, not fun, not good people, in my personal opinion. Let's see, Elkwood Bear, howdy, Texas. Robbie, how are you doing, Robbie? I do have a question off subject, no problem. What do you recommend for a mesh network? I know a lot's going on with TP-Link. Yes. So mesh networks, Robbie. TP-Link is a really good setup, right? They're really good. The problem is they might end up getting banned in the U.S. because they're very connected with the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party. And that being said, you cannot use TP-Link in any government site. You can't use it in schools. You can't. There's a lot of places that it's banned already, but they were going to do a full ban out the U.S. completely. I don't think that ever went through, but it's just something that we need to be vigilant about. And you don't want to go and set up an entire mesh network and then all of a sudden the system is gone because it's banned in the U.S. That's not good. So there's a lot of different mesh networks that you can use. You can use some of them from, like the Eros is okay. I don't like it. It is an Amazon product, but some people swear by it. I have problems with it. I've tested the Eros out. What is it? The 6 Plus, the 7 Plus, the new one, which is gigabit. Anyways, the Eros are okay, but for a full-blown network, I would look elsewhere. There's a lot of different options that you can use. I mean, my network right now that my router, I'm using this. I'm using a Raspberry Pi, and I have 3 connections coming into it. I have SpaceX Starlink. I have a fiber connection. That's just recent, as of last month. And I also have T-Mobile home internet. All 3 of them coming into here. So it's not possible for this channel to go down unless my computer crashed or all 3 companies went out. That means fiber on the ground. That means satellite. And that also means direct cell connection, 5G or whatever. So I'll be here. I'm not going down anytime soon. I have all 3, and once again, it's going through the Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi is my router now. I'm not using TP-Link. I'm not using SpaceX Starlink's router either. Now, you could use SpaceX Starlink's router and then use multiple Starlink routers to create a mesh network. You can do that too. And you know what? Honestly, that's not a bad idea because they just simply work. I mean, I don't know. I did a video on this one time. And if you have like a Starlink router here, that's your main router, and then you take another one and you plug it in like over here. This one, if you log in, it'll be like, hey, I see another SpaceX Starlink router. Do you want me to configure it as an AP? As an access point? And you're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's like, okay. And boom, this router turns into an access point. Now you go and move it wherever you want. It's just that easy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they did a good job when it comes to that. It works really, really well. But it's pretty expensive. They're not that cheap. So, but it's something to look at. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Where do we leave off? Tees and routers, TP-Link. Bob says, I think they will dump the booster in the Gulf of Mexico and catch the ship. Really? You think for IFT-9? I mean, I technically they could. They definitely could. That's something that we can look at. Might not be a bad thing, dumping the booster in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, it'd be really nice if they could have a drone ship that's big enough to be able to have, super heavy land on it. Wouldn't that be cool? Just like the Falcon 9s do. But I don't think it's going to happen. They're just too big. I mean, I guess they could do it, but it'd be a big drone ship. It would be really large. I don't know. Let's see. Low Tech Greg, thank you for being here. Thank you. A little late? Yeah, you're never late. We're just hanging out. We just have a couple of people tonight, 60, 70, 80, I don't know how many, but there's a few of you guys. Normally, we're getting close to 100, 120 or more. But I didn't put out a kind of like a teaser thumbnail, like a placeholder for tonight, because I didn't think I was going to do a live, because I thought that it was going to be IFT-8 tonight, but yeah, we moved it. So it's Monday. I do have a placeholder for Monday, so definitely hang out with me on Monday. I think I'm going to start, I think it goes off at 6:30. I was going to start at like 5:30, 5 o'clock. I might start even earlier and just hang out. All right, so just watch for that. I'm not sure as of yet. And I'm going to try to get my wife on here too. So I'm not sure if she's going to be in town. I don't know. We'll see. Everything is so liquid, it's always changing, right? It's always changing. Ricky Joe says, is the volume level lower than usual? My sound is up 100%, but your audio is lower than usual. Really? All right, Ricky Joe. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we should be louder now, Ricky Joe. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Usually when I'm doing a live, on my my box here, my I guess you would call it analog to digital converter box. It's a Foresight. It's a pretty good box actually. Anyways, sometimes I forget to turn it up a little bit, because when I record, I have to turn it down because for some reason it amps it up. But live, it kind of brings those decibels down a little bit. So I have to actually push them. So we're pushing them now. Hopefully, you let me know if it's better. It should be better. Let's see. Bob said I was there for the first booster catch, and it was amazing. I know it was real because I saw it with my own eyes. No, you didn't see it, Bob. What you were looking at was a hologram. It wasn't actually real. Peter Gosling, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Did you see something just pop up? That's kind of new. Peter, I appreciate you. Thank you. The super chats are always warmly welcome. They're very, very helpful. Very helpful. But yeah, I just added that to the channel. So now in the upper right-hand corner, I didn't even talk to you guys about it. Upper right-hand corner, you're going to see like people that have contributed to the channel, and it kind of will update. And then also, if someone does a super chat, that will pop up, or if they're becoming a member, or if they're doing, if they're giving out free memberships, for example, to people, the free memberships will also pop up so that people, look, look at that. Do you see that? Peter, thank you. Look at that. It just popped up. Speaking of the devil. So yeah, I implemented that on the channel. I just thought it'd be kind of fun, so that all of you great folks out there that do the super chats and contribute to the channel are constantly supporting me. I want to give you a little bit more of a highlight. So that's what I did. I put that in there. So listen, guys, if you are one of the 20 people that Peter just gifted a free membership to, please say thank you to him. I would really appreciate that. That's Nicholas, George, David. Our GSD Rules, you got a free membership. Eagle Strike, Eric got a free membership. Alan, Mark, Henry, Jeffrey, 7 spleefs. 7 spleefs. Do you really need 7? Can one do you? Seven Spleeps, you got a free membership. Scott from South Carolina, free membership. Blair M, free membership. Fabian, how you doing, Fabian? Thank you for being here. Fox Caro, Piney Woods 1. Nicholas saying thank you to Peter. Thank you, Nicholas, for that. Thank you, Peter, Glenn, and Wendy Hill. Wendy, you got a free membership. Thank you, guys. Listen, thank you, Peter. Once again, thank you. But yeah, I got this new thing where if someone becomes a member, or if they're doing super chats, or if they're doing these type of things like Peter just did, which is just unbelievably wonderful, where he's giving you guys free memberships, it will recognize them and it'll kind of pop up. So kind of cool stuff. Just trying to have fun with the channel a little bit and just grow it a little bit, make it a little bit funner. Funner? More fun? Something like that. Let's see. Where did I leave off, guys? Where did I leave off? If you want to ask a question, put @JCristina before your question or a Q before your question. It makes it easier for me to find. Excuse me. Let me see where I left off. Let's see. Moving up here. Moving up. Here we go. If for some reason I miss your question, like I always say before, and all the rest of the videos, please just rewrite it, stick it in there again. Once again, put a Q before your question or @JCristina. It makes it easy for me to find. A lot easier for me to find, I should say. Let's see. Moving down here. Dwayne Green. How are you doing, Dwayne? Thank you for being here. Says, had Starlink for 3 years now. Works great, but my uplink speeds have been inconsistent. Haven't been able to have a shutter-free live stream. That is kind of strange because, now obviously I'm using 3 internets to be able to do this stream. And the big but here is I was streaming every Friday, and you can go back videos with SpaceX Starlink solely. And that's before I even got T-Mobile as a secondary, okay, a backup. Peter, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you. Wow, Peter says, if you have any questions, like I said, please put a Q before your question or @JCristina. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange how this is. But anyways, let me get into some other, because I'm going to fall behind, and then and people are going to start giving me kicks because I start ranting and just going on, and that's what I do. That ADD thing, Let's see. Mesh networks, yes. Elderwood, and this is I missed this. Says just rewatching your mesh network video today and remind myself how to add some APs. Yeah, absolutely. That video is done really well. That mesh network video that I put together. Let's see. Ever think about doing another one? I am thinking about doing another one. I'm trying to decide. There's some companies that have been reaching out to me to review their products. 2 of them were complete shit, so I'm not going to tell you guys about it. And that's one of the things, just so you guys know, this is for Elkwood Bear with your mesh network in that metal shop. I'll get to that in just a second. But I just don't review stuff. Okay. I get in a week sometimes 30 or 40 promotional things where people want me to promote their product, and I say no to all of them. Every once in a while, I'll say yes to something. And that means that not only do I like the product, but I think that you will like the product, okay? If it's a product that I like, but I don't think that you're going to be interested in it, I'm not going to put it on the show. That's just it. I'm not here to push products, besides my own product, of course, right? But I'm not here to push other people's products unless it's something that I really jive with. And that's why I pushed TP-Link for a long time. And now that TP-Link ended up going down this whole possible banning thing, I took it off. And the videos are still there, but if you look in every video that I do where I have a list of different routers for you to take a look at, you'll notice TP-Link isn't there. So until they prove to me that they're not going to be banned and everything is copacetic or whatever they're going to do, I can't put them in there because I'm not going to risk, your, view of the channel as being a channel that is unbiased, that is supporting, that is not here just to sell out. By putting something in there that really shouldn't be. So anyways, I do not give negative reviews, and that's some of the things that I tell these people that want me to advertise their product. I said, I don't do negative reviews, and if you're going to send me something and I don't like it, I'm not going to review it. That's just it. I'm not going to, blast you because your product is shit on my channel. I'm not going to do it. So anyways, that's kind of like the skinny. You have the metal building, though, the metal shop. Always a hard thing when it comes to Wi-Fi and you have metal throughout. It makes it very difficult. And at that point, you really want to get as many APs as possible in there. And if you're going for a distance, the AP that's sitting on the outside, you want to put an AP, a repeater AP on the inside, directly on the other side of the metal wall. That's going to get you your best connection, let's say, for inside the building. Literally put them back to back on the other side, and you'll do pretty well. I mean, I'm going through 8.5-inch poured concrete, and I don't have a problem with it. So your metal should be okay. This is usually pretty thin. Anyways, I hope that helps. Yeah, let's see. Moving down, Bill Cox, thank you for being here. Saying something over there to Ricky Joe. Glenn, thank you for being here, Glenn. How's everything? It says, when number 8 is caught on Monday, the FAA will have to award the Verizon contract to SpaceX. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was talking about, matter of fact, in today's video, right? This whole thing with Elon Musk saying, listen, the FAA is screwed right now, and we're seeing planes that are like crashing and then almost crashing. The last one was just stupid. The plane is like crossing the runway. Another plane's coming in. He sees it crossing. He's like, holy shit. And he pulls back up. Like, what? If he wasn't cognizant, right? And he had that plane on autopilot to land, and he's turned over, let's say, to the co-pilot and be like, blah, 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 blah. He would look back and he would be going straight through a Learjet or whatever jet was at the end of the runway, because it's just screwed. So I don't know if it's the DEI thing or what the reason is, and that's what I was talking about in today's video. Whatever the reason is, something's wrong, and Elon Musk brought it to the attention, saying that, look, the system, okay, is outdated, very outdated. What is it, L3 Harris or whatever it is that put together this system? It's literally antiquated. So Elon Musk said, listen, use Starlink, okay? Throw Starlink on top of your planes, put Starlink in your towers, and you'll have communication. Even in the depths of Alaska somewhere in a valley, you're going to have communication, whereas now they have a hard time with communication. But Verizon got a contract in 2023 to update this system with their Verizon stuff. It was like 4,600 sites or something. Well, 2023 came and went. Then 2024 came and went. And now we're in 2025, and they haven't done a damn thing. $2.4 billion contract. I'm like, shit, give it to Elon. The thing will be working within a week, and that's it. It's not about, and then what happens is I get a lot of flack because they're like, oh, it's Elon. We don't want him to, get another contract from the government. It's not about Elon or the contract. It's about the safety of the American public. When my wife goes and flies all the time like she does, she needs to feel safe, and not that she's going to die in a blaze because an air traffic controller is screwed up. He's not supposed to, or she's not supposed to be there, and she's there because she's a woman, or she's there because she's a certain color, or he's there because of whatever. This is a problem. So until we get back to actually hiring people that are actually good at their job and not hiring based on race, creed, color, we're going to end up with having problems, right? They need to fix it. So, and one of the problems is this, where the communication is not up to snuff. So in my personal opinion, I really do think the $2.4 billion, the FAA contract, should go to Elon. And literally, it wouldn't take years because they did nothing so far in the last 2 years. And they're saying they're spec'd out for like 10 years or something. Someone wrote to me and they said, it was a transitional time of 15 years. Shut up. 15 years to update the damn system? This is what people write to me. And it's like, you don't want to get upset, but it's like some people are just dumb as tech. I mean, just stupid people. Stupid. Do you really think it should take... Are you going to wait 15 years and then people dying all over? I mean, it's just dumb. Dumb. Anyways, see? I went off on a rant. I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you, Glenn, for getting me pissed. But yeah, the Verizon contract is they should just rip that shit up and just get it over to Elon. He'll literally have the thing up and running, working. Matter of fact, the FAA is testing 3 Starlink setups. I think 1 or 2 in the U.S. and 1 in Alaska or something, or 1 in the U.S. and 2 in Alaska. So they're already testing it. So Verizon better do something. They better just get some fire under their ass and actually do something, because if not, Elon's going to take that contract. I promise you. Because he can get it done immediately. So what else we got here? Bob says the launch was cool because they would let you play, the payload deployed. Yeah. So this launch, we should see payload deploy of SpaceX Starlink satellites. And it's going to be the version 2 big, massive satellites. They're going to be duds, so they're not going to be the real satellites, but they will be launched. Supposedly it's going to be 4. Originally, I think it was going to be 10. Whatever. It doesn't matter. If they can get those things to shoot out the Pez dispenser and have those 30 new cameras on board, we're going to get some amazing footage. And I'm there for it. Monday is going to be a hell of a day. Doesn't really matter if they blow it up or not, but it's going to be a day. And if they don't blow it up and they get to do all of the things, it's going to be a lot of information that they glean for sure. I just want to know about that cooling system of the tiles. Can you imagine active cooling? Just like cooling the tiles like you would cool your CPU in your computer? Active cooling. In other words, having like coils beneath them and like a metal tile instead of a ceramic, which is passive cooling. That would just be cool just in itself, right? They're supposed to, I think, turn on one engine on orbit so that they know that it can actually light back up. Zero gravity with no air, and it's a vacuum engine. Anyways, they're supposed to do that. They also have 25% more fuel in the vessel, which is going to be like they did in IFT-7 that blew up. I think that's one of the reasons why it blew up, but I'm just speculating. They never said one way or another. I think there was a problem because they stretched the vehicle. They stretched the craft out by 1.8 meters, which is like 6 feet for IFT-7. And they didn't say why. And at first they didn't even say that they put 25% more fuel in it, but they did. And I think that stretch actually was for a larger tank. Basically vibration occurred, and a lot of vibration. And I did a video and I talked about this. And I have firsthand knowledge of how this harmonics works and just how I used to stunt. Okay, I used to ride wheelies and endos and do shows, that kind of stuff, and hang out with the crew and practice every Friday and Sundays. And on certain weekends, we would go to the different shows and whatnot. But on the front end of the motorcycle, we had what's called a dampener. So on the wheel or on the handlebars, you have this dampener. So if you come off a wheelie and you hit the ground pretty fast, but just slightly off, what will happen is you'll end up with this wheel slap. And you'll get this slap. It's like a harmonic type of thing. You get this slap back and forth, and it'll get faster and faster and harder until eventually you get kicked off the motorcycle. And that's what that dampener does. So what they did to dampen it, I don't know. Is it just thicker? What did they do? I mean, obviously you're not going to be doing like you would do on a motorcycle handlebars, but they're obviously doing something because they talked about it. They also referenced that addict area, the area between the fiery engines below and then the massive propellant tanks. So there's this empty area, and they call it the addict. And that's where the fire started on the last one. Now remember, it was stretched out. It was completely different. So All of that vibration caused hoses to break. There was a massive leak. It couldn't expel that, and it created pressure until finally it blew up. Now, they did a lot of new things to it because now they actually have a system to push out any type of leak propellant, number one. Number two, they have a system to be able to put out a fire in there, a suppression system, which is great. So there's a lot of things on this new one, this IFT-8 that's going on. That's really, really quite interesting. Let's see, moving down, where'd I miss? Elkwood Bear, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. I know I'm going to miss people. I'm going to come down here. Let me see. If you have a question, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. Makes it more easy. Much easier. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Life and Death says Donnie will send the the postal police around to collect your TP-Link gear. Right. To keep us safe. Yeah, I think so. And authorized to break the door down. Absolutely. So I don't know what's going on with this TP-Link. It's very similar to what's going on with TikTok. Same exact thing. Because TikTok is it's not run, but it is beholden to, or it answers to the CCP, right? So that being said, there's no, we don't want it, or the government doesn't want it, and there's security reasons. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. What goes on with it. Johan says, when do you think Microsoft will ever have a genuine competitor? All right, so Microsoft with a genuine competitor. So, don't get me started. This is my Microsoft, Johan, this is my Microsoft, okay? It's been here collecting dust for 150 plus days. I'm currently using Linux. I'm using Linux Mint, I think 22. Yeah, Linux Mint 22. It's every bit as good as Windows, and I do everything with it that I need to. That being said, it's not that the operating system needs to get better. What needs to get better is the software and hardware manufacturers. What ends up happening is they make the hardware and they make the software and they make the drivers specific to PC, because there's more PCs out there. Matter of fact, Mac, they get the shit end of the stick too a lot of times, whereas there's no drivers for Mac for a lot of things, right? Or limited amount of drivers, where PC gets all of them. Once again, it's because the majority of people use PC. Now, some of the hardware suppliers will produce Linux drivers. Perfect example is some of the printers. They produce Linux drivers, no problem. They work immediately. And with Linux, like for example, right now I'm using Stream Deck. Stream Decks are made by Elgato. Elgato does not make firmware or any software for Linux, yet I'm using it, right? The reason I'm able to use these things, matter of fact, here you can take a look at one maybe. Can you see it? Does it pop up? Yeah, it does. So this is one, right? The reason I could use them is because people in the Linux community, they write the software themselves. They're like, oh yeah, you don't want to write the firmware? You don't want to write the drivers? No problem, we'll do it for you. And they do, and they give it away for free. So that's how I'm using this. So what's as good as Windows? Linux, 100%. I've been using Linux for, oh God, I don't know, since Red Hat, since BSD, since BSDI, back in the late 90s, mid 90s. I remember I used to go to CES. I used to go to all of the shows. Me and a friend of mine, Trevor Current, we used to do Digital Photography Cafe, and we would travel throughout the country and interview CEOs and movers and shakers in the tech and the camera genre, right? So we would go from Las Vegas to the Javits Center up in New York. So, we would travel continuous. So anyways, but yeah, Linux. Take a look at Linux. You'll be surprised. If there is drivers for your product, you're going to be able to, you'll be golden. The caveman dynamic says the Gulf of America. Yes, we have the Gulf of America. Why not? I never understood why it was the Gulf of Mexico, but it's the Gulf of America now. I like it. And even Google and Apple both say Gulf of America now. I know it was like a thing for a while now. Thanks, Bill, for it. The volume got better. I'm glad. Kamikaze Ozzy, thank you for being here. Good evening, Joe. Where'd you get the Pac-Man display? Yeah, so that Pac-Man dude back there, that little thing that's running, that's always in the background of mine, I think it was from Amazon, like, I don't know, years ago. I don't know if they might still have them. I don't know. But a lot of fun. I just tried, doing. Do you notice where I got back here? It's a freaking lava lamp. I was never going to get a lava lamp. And I saw this thing. We were away. I don't remember. Yeah, we were away. Where were we? We were in Jacksonville. And I saw this lava lamp in a store, and I'm like, I got to have this lava lamp. And there it is. It brings me back to my youth. I used to love the lava lamp. And it's weird. Like the lava lamp that we used to have back then, the damn things were like this thick and they were like this tall. They're like massive. And now they're little. They're like puny. I want a big ass lava lamp. I want something like substantial. Anyways, I think they're fun. I like looking at them. Let's see. Moving on. Once again, thank you so much, Peter. Really appreciate that. Let's see. Hello from Nigeria Falls, Canada. Thank you, John, for being here. Moving on, moving down. Let's see. Okay. Moving down into here. Peter says, please like the video. I'd appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, there was like 60, 70, 80 people. I don't know. It fluctuates. People kind of come and go. But yeah, I would love to get a like if you enjoy it. If you don't like what you hear or what you see, just thumbs down it. Alphabet, Google, YouTube, love thumbs downs. They can care less if you do a thumbs up or just understand this. If you do a thumbs up on a channel, you do a thumbs down, it is equally liked by YouTube because YouTube just wants interaction. They don't care. If you don't like a channel at all, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. There's a secret, right? There's a secret. Let's see. Moving on. Peter says, it's hard to switch to Linux Mint. I only use PC for YouTube and emails and documents and Steam gaming. So, is it hard? No, I don't think so. Watch some of my Linux videos, and I showed like testing of, God, I think about 8 or 10 different distributions, and I ended up settling with Linux Mint not just because I liked it. I settled with Linux Mint because I thought that the majority of my viewers would be able to install it and just run with it. Linux Mint is definitely a distribution of Linux that is very easy to use. It finds all of your printers. Here's a perfect example. If I take my iPhone and I plug it into my Apple laptop, the Apple will be like, hey, do you want me to open up iTunes so we can download the stuff? No, I don't want you to use iTunes. I just want to take one picture off. I don't want it in iTunes. I just want to drag it off. And then you could do it. You got to pull teeth. But with Linux, I plug this damn phone into it. It pops up. It's like, hey, I see you plugged in an iPhone. Here's what I see. Do you want me to download these things into a folder? You tell me which folder. Or it'll just show them to me, and then I can just click on one, drag it off onto my desktop, and there you go. I just got something off the phone. That easy. Simple. But yeah, so Peter, yeah, I think it's really easy. What I would suggest, Peter, is if you're going to try Linux, definitely stick it onto one of these. You have to download the OS anyways, and then it creates like this boot drive. So once you boot it, or you boot from it, you have to go into your firmware and say, listen, don't boot off the hard drive, boot off this instead. That's all you have to do. It'll boot off this. And then when you're in there, it's going to say, hey, do you want to use Linux through this, or do you want me to install it? If you say install it, then it's going to say, okay, where do you want to put it? And do you want me to wipe that drive, or do you want to dual boot? I would recommend don't dual boot unless you really know what you're doing. And if you do use Windows, take that Windows drive out or unplug it when you're playing with this, so you don't accidentally do some stupid shit and delete it. Delete your Windows because you need to go back to it for whatever reason. Don't do it. So one of the options is use the OS from this. I recommend you do that first. And you can get comfortable with it. Just like you boot up off this, obviously going to be a little bit slower because you're running an OS through, get the fastest pen drive that you can, right? USB stick, get the fastest that you can. But either which way, it's going to be a little bit slower, but try it. See if you like it. And if you do, buy another NVMe, something like this, plug it in, install it from here to there, and then boot off this. And then if you are not comfortable with it, take your old Windows version, stick it back in, boot up, and no problem, right? You have no issues at all, just like if you didn't even try it. That's my recommendation. That's the easiest way. And then see if everything works the way you want it to. But yeah, I recommend Linux Mint 22 because it's kind of like a Windows where it's easy to install. And what makes it better than Windows is it kind of gets out of your way. And it doesn't sit on spy on you continuously and say, hey, by the way, I want you, do this. Hey, by the way, do that. Hey, why are you using Firefox and not using Edge? Why aren't you? It's like, just leave me the hell alone. And that's the problem with Windows. It doesn't. Let's see. Tina, how you doing, Tina? Thank you for being here. Says, do you think that they will do away with the National Radio Quiet Zone over West Virginia so we can all enjoy the direct-to-cell Starlink's satellite connection, like your DTC or direct-to-cell? So it's really, whenever you deal with the National Radio Quiet Zone, if you guys don't know what that is, basically in areas where they're doing, like if they have, for example, a radio antenna that's doing deep space work, like they used to have one in Puerto Rico, for example. There was like this silence area, right? Or as they call it, that radio quiet zone or whatever. So you can't have any signal there because they don't want to disrupt anything. So will they, shut that down so you can have DTC? I would have to say yes. Now, I don't know this for sure, but the reason being is that those satellites are overhead anyways, and they're transmitting over the, let's call it the quiet zone anyway. So you're just going to receive it. The whole transmission, pushing it back out, yes, I think it's around 1700, I don't know, I think it's 1900 hertz, whatever it is. But I don't know. I have a feeling that they're going to let that go through. But we will see. Keep me informed with it. If you find out anything, let me know about it. But I think for just security, for safety, if you're in a national park someplace and you have DTC, I mean, you could be found. Where some people die, you wouldn't die. You would be able to be found. Not only, can you be found with your phone, with triangulation through SpaceX Starlink within about 15 feet. GPS is about 3 feet. But right now, I think Starlink is around 15 or 12 feet or something. So they're going to find you, right? But also, you'll be able to text people and be like, yeah, I'm at this location. Or you can make a phone call with it coming up before the end of this year also. So, I hope so. The answer to that is kind of, I hope so. We'll see. Let's see. Moving on. The system is 1950 vintage. Yeah, Glenn, it really is. They need to get rid of that system. Just use Elon stuff. Honey Badger says the wrong way crash is definitely I guess it'd be the wrong way or the runway crash definitely caused by an air traffic controller. That's my good honest opinion. It could have been. I hear that the pilot didn't listen to the air traffic controller, but they didn't release the findings as of yet. Either which way, there's been way too many crashes and way too many close calls. It's definitely a problem. Mo, how you doing, Mo? Appreciate you being here. Peter's giving me the kicks. I appreciate that, Peter. Thank you for kicking me. Let me see if I'm missing any questions. I'm going to try to go down this list a little bit quicker because, I'll start going on and on. That's what I do. Here's a question. Fragile. How are you doing, Fragile? Thank you for being here. Are you familiar with the MIMO setup, sort of sending Wi-Fi signal several miles? Does it work? Ubiquiti is a good one. I don't know if that setup will work, the MIMO setup. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll work if you have an external antenna like what I have. Like I have a waveform antenna. Really nice guys over there. If you guys ever want to pick up an antenna and you're using like AT&T Internet Air, you're using Verizon's home internet or T-Mobile's home internet, and you want to get like double your speed and definitely a stronger signal, check out Waveform. I have a discount, I think, from those people. They're awesome. They're really nice guys over there. If you go to JCristina.com/antenna, JCristina.com/antenna, it will take you to their site, but then it'll also give you like a discount. I forget what the discount, 10, 15, 20%. I don't know. It's a discount. But yeah, check them out. They are awesome. But yeah, one of those MIMOs, they might work, but you probably need an external, a good antenna. Depends on how far you're going with it, obviously. Mo World says, actually, no, I didn't. Honey Badger, going over to Honey Badger, talking back and forth. You guys. Cue before your question, people. Cue before your question. Let's see. Yes, Peter says it was harmonics. Yeah, it was. That caused the IFT-7 to blow up. Yes. Harmonics is a crazy thing, Harmonics a lot of times happens under speed, under load, under extreme conditions, right? And you get that vibration. And what happens is that vibration grows. It's kind of like dropping a pebble in a pool, right? And it ripples out. Starts out really tight and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you get this wide ripple. It's the same type of thing. That's harmonics. The same thing with the dampening. That's why I have the dampener on the motorcycle. Harmonics, the same type of thing. Very similar. It's not harmonics because it's kind of a physical thing, but it works the exact same way. The frequency goes from small and it gets extremely large until you're slapped off the motorcycle. And in this case, it ends up blowing up because it's slowly ripping apart the ship because it's vibrating so horribly. Starts out as a small tremor and then it ends up into just a nastiness where it's pulling out cables and destroying itself. So yeah, they're going to work on that vibration. Supposedly they did. Now I don't know if they're making certain things thicker or what are they doing for the vibration. I was researching it, but I didn't find any data on it at all. If not, I would share it with you. Gary, question says, did you see Tesla's free energy engine created by an African named? No, I didn't. I did not see that. That would be pretty cool. Send me a link. Go to JCristina.com and then go to comments and send me a comment. Send me a link. I would love to read about it. Robbie, thank you for being here. Says, let's see. What blows my mind is SpaceX knows what happens to their rockets in days. Just like that, exactly. When things go bad, but it takes the FAA years to figure out what happens in plane crashes. Yes, that is true, right? That is true. That just shows the amount of data that's being put out by the Starship and the Super Heavy is just insanity. And they're able to gather that through telemetry and just dig in deep. And the chances are they're using AI for it too, to really boil it down and boil it down quickly, because the answers they literally have in just in no time, just like you said, in no time. The FAA takes years. I always say this, what NASA takes 10 years to launch, SpaceX takes 10 months. That's being very generous. It probably takes more like 10 weeks. But that's the problem with government. That's the problem with a lot of these people. They just, it takes them forever. Peter, thank you for those kicks. I appreciate those kicks. Fab's not here to give me the kicks. I need them sometimes. I do need them. Let's see. Rowan, I guess. Rowan. Tower 2 arms are working. I bet that the Tower 2 arms will do a phantom catch as the Starship is going in the water. Could be. Could be. I didn't know that the arms were working. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's awesome. No one says I love Fedora. I do like Fedora. Fedora 40 was probably one of my favorites. It was just really awesome. The problem with Fedora 40 was it didn't work with all of my printers. My label, my laser, or not laser, my heat or thermal printer didn't work. I couldn't get drivers for it, guys. They wrote the drivers for Ubuntu, so they didn't, but they didn't write the drivers for Linux for Fedora. It sucks. Kamikaze Ozzy says, I have 2 TP-Link routers, once outlawed. I'll hand them over immediately. Yes, yes, yes. Rick Joe says, my sister got a new place wired with AT&T fiber. We went to order it. Let's see. While walking the Walmart guys, hold on a second, guessed what there was. Tech, it was signed up there of her literally gateway from his truck. Really? That is pretty neat. That is pretty neat. Rick Joe, I don't know. My question is, if you have AT&T fiber, how is it? I have mixed opinions on it. I mean, I don't like AT&T at all, but their fiber was like pretty good in certain areas, and in other areas it's really good, and then it breaks a lot. It goes down a lot. If you have AT&T fiber, let me know. Let me know if yours goes down, because that's what I've been hearing down the grapevine. They go down a lot. Let's see. Radioactive Texan, thank you for being here, my friend. You made it. Ricky Joe says, I hooked it up for her, only a $20 deposit. There you go. Cheap. Absolutely cheap. Can't beat that. For sure. Let's see. Did you see what happened with Zelensky today, guys? Holy shit. I was like baffled. I'm like, are they actually fighting in the Oval Office? They were going bickering back and forth. I'm like, man, that is crazy. It's not normal. And Zelensky was sitting there like, what do I say? I mean, when Biden was there, they were like just freaking hand over fist. They couldn't send them enough money. And now Trump's like, hey, you're going to do a deal, or we're just going to pull out. We're not going to give you any more arms, and then we'll see how long you last. I'm like, huh? Really? We're not going to just keep on sending billions? Kind of interesting. I want to know, guys, I want to know. Look at this. There's Starship, right? Is that cool? There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty neat. You know what I want to do? I want to do this. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to my X account. And then I'm going to go to Grok. I want to see what Grok has to say about this. Where is Grok? Here's Grok. Grok is here. I guess the Ukraine, right? I want to see, like, what does it come up with? Let it do its search. I want to know how much. So let's see. As of February 28, 2025. Here we go. The total financial aid commitment to the Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion in 2022 and subsequent is substantial. Though the exact figures vary slightly depending on sources, or depending on the source and time frame considered. According to the data from this institute, the world economy and global aid commitments, blah, 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 the Ukraine reach approximately 400 billion euros, or 430 billion US dollars, as of December 2024. 400 billion. Holy shit. So a post on X states that it's 177 billion to 200 billion so far. That's just from the U.S. So the U.S. is given anywhere from 177, I don't even care which the number is, 177 to 200 billion to the Ukraine. And in total, including Europe, 400 billion, close to $500 billion. Guys, I don't know. I know it's tax season. The government's going to be taking our money. And what they do with this money should be our decision and not theirs. But it doesn't work that way. You know, we appoint these people. We put them into office. We vote for them. And then they do kind of like crazy ass shit. I mean, I don't know. Guys, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I know there's people, they look at it different ways. And, you know, we're going to somehow stop Russia's invasion and all the rest of the stuff. And, you know, it's just craziness. Absolutely crazy. But we'll see what ends up happening. This year, I told you guys, this was going to be a year that I got my popcorn out, that I'm going to just sit back and just watch the shit go down, because there's a lot. I feel like every day there's something new. Either with Elon Musk and DOGE finding out something, like just craziness, like stuff that you wouldn't even guess. There was like something that I just heard today, guys. Bear with me for one second. I want to look this up. Let me see. Let me see if this actually finds it. There was something that was just released, and I don't know the exact number. Yeah. So there was like, I'm not sure the exact number of millions, but there was like millions and millions of dollars that were like every single year given to Barack Obama for I don't know, his work on something or whatever it was. And I remember listening to that. I'm like, Jesus, that's kind of crazy. And then I was like listening to other stuff, and I was reviewing, because, you know, I dig in. I like seeing, I go through like numerous platforms and sites. I don't just like look at one. I'm not like the MSNBC guy, or I'm not like the Fox guy or the CNN guy. I just look at everything, right? Some of this stuff was like just absolutely absurd. Like sending millions of dollars for like, I don't know, Sesame Street and like Iraq or something. There's like crazy, like stuff that you wouldn't even guess, just like stupid stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. It was just something I just had to look that up, because I just think it was just craziness. Absolutely weird. I don't know, but I'm here for it. Once again, I got my popcorn. I know Zelensky over there, he's like, yeah, he kind of like kicked me out, but we want to kind of like restart this. And I want to talk to him again or whatever. And Trump's like, yeah, no, we're not talking anymore. We're pretty much done for today. I'm going back to Mar-a-Lago, and you know, you could go back to your country. And when you're ready, we'll talk again. Because he lives here. If you guys don't know, Mar-a-Lago is like his home. It used to be Post, you know, like Post, like the cereal Post. It was her house, and he ended up buying it years ago. And I used to work out of that house a lot before Trump even became the president, because it's literally 20 minutes from me. I used to do a lot of professional photography work and videography work besides my episodic TV work that I do. But I used to do a lot of professional photography work, and it was for a lot of high-end clients that were always in Mar-a-Lago. So I used to be there all the time. I don't go there very much anymore. It's very, very locked down with Secret Service and stuff. But every once in a while, it's fun. Anyways, I digress, as I always do. Honey Badger says Zelensky's meeting with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance was really bad. Supposedly, Zelensky was kicked out of the White House today. How embarrassing is that? Yeah. I literally watched it. And then I watched, he had an interview. Zelensky had an interview with, I think it was Brett Baer or someone over there on, what news? I think it was Fox. And I watched some of that too. Just, you know, people do stupid shit. It's like if you are like, these people don't understand that, like, the whole reason for this mineral thing is like we give, as we just saw, right, $200 billion, right, for them, and we just want to get some of the money back. And the good way to do it is through their natural resources, right, their metals, maybe lithium mining, whatever the case might be, whatever. But that would be a way. But see, what people aren't understanding is it's not just about getting our money back, but by having boots on the ground, actual industry doing the mining in their U.S., Russia's not going to go and once again push into the country and go and kill U.S. They're just not going to do that, right? Because this isn't going to be U.S. military. It's going to be U.S. workers, people that are managing or working on these plants or whatever they got going. So it was another way for security to happen. But they didn't see that. And Zelensky was like, no, we don't want to do a ceasefire. We don't want a ceasefire. No, of course not. You just want more billions and billions and billions of dollars so you can feed the mech. And the mech gets more and more and more money. The military-industrial complex. They just keep making more money. They want people to drop bombs onto people. And the reason being is they make money building bombs, making more bombs. It's just, I don't know. I think common sense is no longer common. I really don't. Peter says, Linux Mint, cinnamon version. Yes. So, Peter, I'm using cinnamon. I love cinnamon. It works out great. Everything that we do here on the show, this is all using cinnamon. It's a great desktop. I'm not a KDE fan, if you guys don't know what that is. You have two different platforms or two different faces. Let's call them skins, if you want, if you will, over Linux. I'm a fan of GNOME or GNOME or Genome, however you want to call it, and not KDE. So anyway, cinnamon. Cinnamon's good. Let's see. Moving on here. Ricky Joe says AT&T Fiber is pretty good. No downtime. That's awesome. That's good to know. 300 plan gets 398 megabits down and 395 megabits up. Perfect. You can't ask for anything more. And that's from 2 to 15 milliseconds. Now remember, I'm using 3 services right now. Let's see what we have for milliseconds here. Let me go and switch you guys over. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. I'll stick this here. There. Is that good? I think that's good. Let's do a ping of Cloudflare. There you go. So this is the ping of using, once again, all 3 services. So we're using fiber, we're using SpaceX Starlink, and T-Mobile home internet, all 3 of them. And this ping is going through the Raspberry Pi. And the Pi is my server. The Pi has all 3 running into it. And I did a video about that. So if you want to know and learn more about running this as a router, I'm only using 2 pieces of software. One is OpenWRT. That's the router. And then I'm running a piece of software called MWAN, M as in Mary, MWAN 3. And that allows me to now insert into here multiple ISPs. I could literally put 10 ISPs into here. Obviously, there's only so much that the CPU can work on. There's only this right here is a version 4 Pi. My suggestion is to get a version 5 because it's newer and it's faster. It can handle more. But this will do a gigabit without a problem. So that said, take a look at the video. But yeah, so that's the ping. What does it look like? What are we getting? 4.5 to about 4.5. An average of 4.5 to 5 max milliseconds. Not bad. I'll take that all day long. With SpaceX Starlink, I'm getting anywhere from 15 milliseconds to 20 milliseconds. Now, don't hate. If you have SpaceX Starlink and you're like, how in the hell is this guy getting 14.5 to like 22 milliseconds? The reason being is they opened up a new POP or point of presence near me. I used to use a point of presence. They used to have me hooked up to Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, Georgia is 700 miles away. They opened up a new POP down here in Miami, which is only 70 miles. So instead of 700 miles, it's 70 miles. But the distance is really not where I'm getting all that added speed, right? Or the latency, the lower latency. The reason I get the lower latency is because that pop is brand new and there's not that much congestion. So if you end up getting a pop that's closer to you, that's just opening, and they transfer you to it, you're going to see your latency drop immediately. I promise you. Because people don't understand this, but there's not a lot of latency with the communication between your dish and the satellites. I had a long algorithm, a long mathematical equation, and I came up with, it was just about 2 and 2.4. Let's call it like 2.5 milliseconds. Okay, latency, like to go from your dish to the satellite and back. It comes to a total of like 4.5 milliseconds, something like that. 4.5 milliseconds. That's it. So everyone will be like, well, where in the hell is the latency coming from? Well, the rest of the latency, let's say if you get 40 milliseconds, well, where did it go? It's supposed to be 4.5. Why is it not 4.5? Why is it 40? It's because of all of the traversing terrestrially on the ground. So remember that signal comes down and it goes to a ground station. From that ground station, the signal has gone shot over to your POP or your point of presence. The point of presence is on the backbone of the internet, and then it gets the data that you're requesting. And then it sends back to the ground station back up to the satellite back down to your dish. That movement is where all of that time is going. So they're going to speed that up, guys. It's going to get better. I promise you. I predicted about 1.5 years ago that they're going to do away with POPs. Not POPs, but ground stations. And they'll just simply have POPs. And those POPs are going to they're going to be at the backbone, those POPs. And they're basically like a combination of a ground station and a POP at the backbone. And this way you don't have backbones, or you don't have ground stations all over the place that are, once again, introducing latency into the mix. And the reason they'll be able to do it eventually is because of the high-speed laser internet connection, high-speed satellite connection that those lasers on board of the satellites can do. So if there's a request that comes in, Florida here, but my request needs to go to China, okay? It doesn't need to put it on the ground and then send it through fiber to China. It can just simply, from me, go up to a satellite, from that satellite, bounce it to a satellite over China, and then beam that right straight down. And the speed at which it does it is milliseconds because it's traveling at the speed of light in a vacuum. So it's actually even faster. The lasers are even faster on orbit than they are on the ground in the fiberglass of those wires. Anyways, once again, I digress. So let me see. Radioactive Texan has popcorn. I love it. Popcorn and more emojis for everyone. Lots of popcorn. Let's see. How you doing, Gary? Thank you for being here. Low Tech Greg is here. Rubicon, thank you for stopping by. A little late. I'm glad you're here, though. It says Starlink is connecting more than 5 million people with high-speed internet across 125 countries, territories, and many other markets. Yes. It was 4.6 million, and I usually quote the number 4.6 million, but I know the number is 5 million. I don't think it's stated anywhere as of yet. I've looked around. It's nowhere to be found. But the next time they actually state how many they're connecting, you are 100% right. Rubicon, it is 5 million. It's over 5 million at this point. I'm going to say like 5.1, 5.2, 5.25 million, somewhere around there. 100%. I'm certain of it. Let's see. Moving on to any other questions. If you have a question, guys, put an @JCristina before your question or put a Q. It kind of just pops out and I can see it, right? I can see it. Hey, what do you guys think about those little pop-ups that happen when someone does a super chat? Do you like that? I think it's kind of cool. We saw Peter did a free membership to a whole bunch of people. Which popped up, which was really nice. We also see that right above that, Glenn Bennett, thank you for being a new subscriber. Thank you. Appreciate that. So that's like something new that we put on the channel. I like it. I like it a lot because it gives notification so people know like what's going on and who's connecting, who's doing what. So once again, thank you, Peter. Thank you. And thank you, Glenn, for being a new subscriber to the channel. Radioactive Texan says, link to the Pi router video. All right, I'll have to find it. It'll take me a minute to do it now. If you go through the channel and you do a search for Pi, it might show up. Pi? Yeah, I just don't remember what. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this for you. Let me see if I can find it. I use a software called Notion.io. If anyone else does, it is an amazing piece of software, and I've been using it for years. So I can go back to my videos and see what I've talked about. Let me see. The thing is I don't know. I don't think I put Pi in the name. That's the problem. It's going to be something like router or something, or let's see. All right. Well, I don't see it here. It doesn't pop up immediately. Radioactive Texan, but it's going to be. I did it like no more than like 2 months ago. So if you look at videos from 2 months ago forward, you're going to find it. It's in there. And what it is me talking about this. Maybe the picture even has me holding this or something. I don't remember. I do so many videos. Sometimes I'll do like 4 or 5 a week. All right. So it's a lot. There's definitely a lot. Sorry about that. If I find it, I'll put it into the notes after we're done tonight. Let's see. Moving on. History stamp. Thank you for being here. Wayne is here. Wayne L. Thank you. Barden. Thank you for being here. It says BlackRock Global IZ or IZM. Nothing wrong with 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah, pretty much. Hello from California. That's from Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. History stamp says it's not easy to calculate the value. No, it's not. That's the book value. We're giving out of date equipment that would. Let me see, where'd it go here? This thing pops around. It's so annoying. Man, YouTube needs YouTube's $1 billion, probably $1 trillion company. They just need to hire some people to just make the software better. Just make it better. Just stupid. Just make it better. Hire a bunch of kids, liquor them up on frickin' Taco Bell and like Mountain Dew, and let them just work 24 hours a day for like a week and just make a better, studio software. Just God. YouTube. What was he saying here? Oh, here we go. We're giving out of date equipment that would cost us to get rid of. Well, they could be, yeah. You can't just throw old rockets in the trash. It's biohazardous, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I wish we were giving them just old rockets, but we're not. We're depleting our good rockets. But yeah, there is a lot of old rockets that go in that direction. But I think a rocket is pretty much like a bullet, You pull the trigger and it goes off. So old or new, the only thing that really changes, the explosives are still the same. The guidance systems are usually what become more and more advanced as time goes on. But that's really, that's kind of it. It's a big bullet. Big bullets. Let's see. Mr. Rail Dude 64 says, thank you for your research on Starlink. Started my 4th month. Great performance. Was using a terrestrial microwave system for 10 years. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Waiting for fiber to come to my area. Keep waiting. Oh man, I don't want to discourage you, but honestly, we waited for fiber in this community for 31 years. Built the house in the community 1998, I think it was. 98. 99? Yeah. It's a long time, right? Whatever, 30 plus years, 34 years now, whatever, a lot of years. And AT&T has always said, oh yeah, we're bringing fiber. And then finally they got fiber to the can out here. It's called a D-slam. It's basically where the fiber is converted into copper. And there's like racks of modems. And then each one sends out originally DSL. And then when DSL became outdated, let's say, they went to UVerse. And UVerse was even shittier because DSL was at least a electrified cable, so it was able to pump a lot further, whereas UVerse was not electrified, meaning that it's just simply signal. And signal only travels so far. So at about 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet, the signal digresses to such a point that you end up with the shittiest service ever. So the DSL that I had at the house, they ended up having to bond two UVerse lines together. Bond them together to get me 15 megabits down and 1.5 megabits up. 1.5. And this was for years and years and years and years. And everyone else got fiber everywhere. But they never pushed the fiber out to the rural communities because it's expensive. And they didn't want to do it. So that's AT&T. They get a ton of money from the government and they do shit. That's just it. That's just literally just boiling it down. That's how it is. Okay? That's firsthand knowledge. Trust me. I've talked to engineers. I've talked to administrators, system administrators at colos at different locations. From Bell South to Bell Atlantic, I've talked to a lot of people, right? Because I am a system administrator. I work on Linux boxes, Cisco routers, fiber channels, that kind of stuff, when I'm not doing this stuff. Anyways, my throat is going. Let me see. Let's see. Kamikaze Ozzy said, question. Like the dude that predicted Orange Man's resurrected. Yes. Let's see. Moving on. Tim. Thank you for being here, Tim. Tim says, I just got another email. Give me 5 bullet points of what, or another email. Give me 5 bullet points of what I did this past week at work. And and to expect to send one this week queued from CNN breaking news alert with the crying people. Yes, Tim. I don't know. Tim, I look at it this way. If you can't come up with 5 bullets of what you did in a week at work, you shouldn't be there. Okay? You shouldn't be there because there's so much that you're doing at work. If you can't come up with 5 things that you actually did, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, and you probably need to be fired. So I think that's a funny thing. I do think that's funny. It's a great question. It reminds me of like some psych tests. I went to 3 different colleges. Because I'm an idiot. I didn't know what I want to do when I grow up, and I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I went to 3 different colleges. I went to a college called the Art Institute of South Florida down here, Fort Lauderdale. So for commercial art, advertising design, videography, and this type of thing, photo. I went to that college, and then I also went to a college for computing, for computer engineer work. And then I went to a 3rd college for child psych. So, I remember with child psych, a lot of my classes, we would do these tests. And I think it's interesting because some of these questions, like very rudimentary questions, like, so what did you do this week? Just give me 5 bullets on what you did, in your job, whatever. Just a simple question like that is very strategic. It's not really about the answer. It's about how it's answered. You know what I mean? And that's like some of the stuff that we used to do with psych and with child psych specifically, because that was what my specialty was child psych. And you get to like the root of things very easily, not by the answers, but by the questions that are asked and how they are answered, and not necessarily the answer itself. So, but this is just good stuff. Yeah, I personally think that if you get a question like that and you can't answer it, you should be fired immediately, if not sooner. Just literally walked out the door like they did with Zelensky today. Just walk the shit out the door. Be like, yeah, see ya. All right? You don't know what you did? You're out. Fragile says, I think the title was Best Router for a SpaceX. Yes, Fragile. I think you're right. Best router for a SpaceX Starlink network. Let me see. I know you're going to ask me, why do I type so fast? Because I've been typing for 40 years. That's kind of what I do. Let's see, videos. And it's best router for a Starlink network. Let's see. Best router for a Starlink network. Okay, so I was right 2 months ago. You're right. Fragile, you're right. So there you go. I will put the link. Let me turn this ad down.
Book your demo today.
All right. Let me go to share. And here we go. Copy. And there it is. All right. If you want to see that video that I made talking about this, creating a router out of this, taking 3 different services, 3 different ISPs and putting it in here and doing a failover and a fallback with them and load balancing with a little Raspberry Pi for $60. That video I just stuck in there. I talk about it. Pretty cool. Wow, it did pretty well. Like what, 17, 18,000 views with 1,100 likes. I guess people liked it. Good job, Joe. Anyways, check that out. Check that out. Thank you, Fragile, for doing that for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Brandon C., thank you for being here. Have you had a chance to test DTC yet? Yes. So I tested DTC, and I didn't do it because I was given the ability to test it. I did it because I was in a hurricane zone. So we were doing a live, and I tell this story. I was sitting here. My wife was sitting there. We were in the hurricane. The hurricane passed, and they had DTC turned on. And they didn't have DTC, or if you don't know what DTC service is, DTC stands for direct to cell. And what that means is you can take an unmodified phone, okay, and connect to a satellite overhead. Right now, T-Mobile is the authorized provider here in the U.S., whereas like Canada is what, like, what the hell is it in Canada? I don't know. Anyways, in Canada, they have their own over there. But the bottom line is you can use a phone, an unmodified phone, to connect to a satellite, basically using it as a satellite phone. And DTC worked. During this time, they opened it up not just for T-Mobile, but I have AT&T. Don't ask me why. Just stop. AT&T on here. And I was able to, with no signal, no Wi-Fi, nothing. I had 2 bars. And when I looked, it was sat bars, satellite. And when I did the test, I text Fabiola sitting next to me, and it went through immediately. Now, I had 2 bars, and 2 bars is 1 bar more than what I get with AT&T with a tower about 3 miles away from me. I get 1 bar. I was getting 2 bars through inside this building, through 8.5-inch concrete walls, through the ceiling, from a satellite at 550 kilometers overhead. That's why I said, guys, these cell phone providers, they don't even know what's coming. They don't even know. Elon doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't even talk about it. Trust me. Will it replace cell phones? Not right away, but eventually it will. 100%. 100%. Because you'll be able to use this anywhere. Anywhere that there's no cell tower, you'll still be able to use this. You can't do that with cell, right? Anyways, yeah. But yeah, I did try DTC, and it does work. It works out fantastic for texting. Eventually, before the end of the year, you're going to be able to make a phone call with it. And by 2026, you'll be able to do video and stuff on it. Right now, they're getting about 15 megabits down with it. Not a lot, but shit, you're connecting it to a satellite at 550 kilometers in space. That's crazy, right? Anyways, it's exciting. We just live in exciting times, like robotics, AI. Guys, I'm thinking about expanding the channel a little bit and getting a little bit into robotics and AI. Because everything is going that way. It really is. And I just love it. And I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. I know that if I do a video on anything that's not SpaceX Starlink, YouTube will say, hey, no. You're getting out of your box. Get back in your friggin' box, because we're not going to tell anybody that you actually went live with this video. All right, unless you get back into your box. Now, some people will be like, Joe, you're just lying. You're kidding. I'm not kidding. This is what YouTube does. When I do videos that are not specific to SpaceX Starlink, I have 127,000 subscribers. I'll get a video with like 500 views, 1,000 views. That is absolutely impossible if they notified all of the people that have notifications turned on. It's not possible. It's not. So they've been screwing the creators for many, many years. And it has to do with ad revenue and how they make their money. And what happens is that they put the creators into certain boxes. So when you watch a creator and you see that they're only doing one specific thing, it's very niche. The reason being is if they break out of that box, they're not going to get any views. But I think I've decided that I don't really care. Because there's so many of you guys that have been contributing to the channel, like Peter and like Shannon and a lot of other people, and they've really helped the channel out a lot. And then behind the scenes, people send in donations through PayPal and whatnot, and I really appreciate that. So the ad revenue is not as important. It is important, obviously, but I think I want to kind of broaden things a little bit. So stay tuned for it. If you guys are techies like I am, you're going to see some different things coming in the not so distant future. AT&T sells snake oil. Yes, Glenn, they do. Always have. Complete crap. Always been crap. Let's see. Moving on. Kamikaze Ozzy says, I remember when 1 megabit was good. Either direction. That's true. Yeah, it was right after I had an option to dump dial-up, and this is the autumn of 1998. Yeah. So I'll give you context. Obviously, my background. Here at the studio, I brought in right around 1998. Yeah, 98. I brought in a T1 connection here. It was like a megabit up, 1.5 megabits up, and 1.5 megabits down. 1.5. Did you hear that? Right? Not 1,000. 1.5 megabits up and 1.5 megabits down, and it was symmetric. Right? The cost on it, guys. You know what? I'm going to tell you the cost. I want you guys to do me a favor. Okay? So, 1998, I brought in here a T1 line. Once again, 1.5 megabits down, 1.5 megabits up, symmetric, both directions. How much in the chat? I want you to put me in there right now. How much? $100, $500, whatever. Put something in the chat. Let me know right now. What is your thought? How much do you think I spent per month for that 1.5 megabits up and 1.5 megabits down? Do that now, and then I'll give you the answer. I would love to know. What do you guys think? Let's see. Scott from South Carolina says, so blessed now with fiber, 600 gigabits. Yes, that's sweet. After 24 years. Congratulations, Scott. That is great. Spectrum came through to you. That's really good. Let's see. Starlink mesh system works pretty good. It does. Starlink's mesh network runs very well. Dave Cowell, thank you for being here. Question. Starlink figured out why, it says Starlink figured out why months ago to deal with the radio quiet zone. Did they really? I didn't even know that. What did they do? The satellites cut off a few miles before the antennas, before the radio antenna, and then resume. Okay, I didn't know that. All right, so there you go. So the radio quiet zone, SpaceX Starlink satellites are turning off before they get to them and then come back on once they are out of that vicinity. I mean, I guess it's okay. You know, I would like for them to still be able to provide DTC in those areas, because like if you're in a national park someplace and you don't have any signal, I mean, if there's some kind of disaster, some kind of, you know, someone got hurt, snake bite, whatever, you know, you can't call anybody. It would be nice to have DTC. DTC is a life changer. It is a life saver. And people will know this more as time go by. Definitely. You'll see it. But either way, question. This is from, let's see, Tiger Brim? Tiger Brim? I don't know. The question says, you must have learned touch typing in middle school like myself. Yes. I did. I don't know. I don't even look, and it's just I know where all the keys are, and I don't even know. I probably type close to 80 plus words. I don't know. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I've been typing for 40 plus years, for sure. But yeah, I remember in school. You remember you used to have typing, guys. Do you remember in school when you actually learned how to write cursive? Who would have thunk such a thing? Now the kids don't know how to write cursive. So when I tell my son is 16. My daughter is 26. So she's fine. She's got cursive. My son, they never taught him cursive. So when I asked my son to sign his name, what do you think happens? He's like freaking baffled. He doesn't know what to do. He's like writing his first name. He's writing his... He doesn't know how to, like... I don't even know. The school system is so freaking broken. Like, at its core, they should just shut the whole thing down. Just get rid of it. Okay? And they rebuild it from scratch, or just let people do, like, you know, homeschooling and just do everything else. I do something, because the school is busted. It is broken. I mean, the kids are learning less and less and less. Like, I remember when I was growing up, we used to learn a lot of things based on not memorization, but understanding. That's why I always talk about like this show. This show is always about the why. You know, I always say that during, you know, and I mean it, because I can teach you how to do something, but if I tell you why you're doing every step, that means that if that something changed slightly, since you know the why, you'll be able to adapt and be able to still do it, right? Because you learned the why. Schools only teach the how. Like, the why is dead. So cognitively, they cannot, like, the free thought isn't there, like, to figure shit out. They just don't have it anymore. I mean, if you can't sign your name. I mean, it's just just put an X. Just write an X. You know? I don't know. God bless. I don't know. Anyways. I'll go back to these questions. Let me see. We got Brandon says $1,000 I spent. Low Tech Greg said $1,000. Radioactive Texan said $1,500. This is my question. How much did I spend monthly for a T1 in 1998, 1999? 1.5 megabits up, 1.5 megabits down. Symmetrical. What did I spend? We got $1,500 from Radioactive Texan. We got $1,000 from Mo. Let's see. Fragile says 1,600. Honey Badger says 500. Ricky Joe says 90. Craig says 300. Then we got Greg at 1,000. $1,280. That was the number. $1,280 for 1.5 megabits down and 1.5 megabits up. That's how much I spent. And they did it through bringing me two drops, and bonding them together. And if you don't know, a T-line, a T1 even a T3, any of those. Those are all powered lines, so they actually had to pump power down the line, and it was a lot of power. It's a lot more power than what you get with like DSL and stuff, right? So I remember once we shut it down, they ended up having to shut it off like through the power too, because once again, it's powered. So, but yeah, so there you go. $1,280 for 1.5. So I was the catalyst to bring this neighborhood, to bring this area, the D-SLAM and the mini RAMs that were put in there. And if you don't know what those are, mini RAMs, I'm going to get a little geeky for a second. Mini RAMs are basically the modems that allow the, let's say, changeover from fiber to copper. And they were like modems. Let's call it modems. And there were 6 mini RAMs put in there, and I bought 3. When I rented, or I leased, or whatever you want to call it. So I bought 3. They were $60 a month. So I had 3. That was $180 a month. And each one gave me, at the time, 7.5 meg down and 0.75 megabits up. I bought 3. But for $60. So literally I had faster speeds, bonding them all together, okay, for $180 that I did for $1,280. That's how far we've gone in a very short period of time. And then they ended up going from the 6 mini RAMs. They ended up installing the DSL box in there, so they had all of the all of the modems in there. And then finally they converted from a DSL to UVerse. But yeah, so yeah. Some of you guys were right. Who was the closest? Well, we got Brandon at 1,000. We got Radioactive went over with 1,500, and we got Mo at 1,000 too. So you guys got it closest. $1,280 was the amount. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Let's see. Nicholas. If you get YouTube Premium, you don't get ads. That's correct. You won't get ads on my channel or any channel if you get YouTube Premium. That is something that you can do for sure. Once again, another payment to YouTube and someone for rental, basically. So what is, let's see, Angel Wildflower says Verizon was fooled. Disappointment. With traveling out west this winter, yeah, it's a pretty much a crap. You know, when you're traveling, you get these services like, you know, Verizon and T-Mobile and AT&T and all the rest of them, and you're expecting to get connection, and you go into areas and you have none, and you rely on it for GPS or whatever the case might be, and now all of a sudden your Google Maps aren't working and everything. It gets kind of scary sometimes, you know. Absolutely. It says I might switch to T-Mobile because I love my Starlink. Yeah, a lot of people are switching over. This is for you, Wallflower. A lot of people are switching over to T-Mobile because of the DTC service and having that emergency service that actually works, compared to like Apple's bullshit emergency service they call SOS nonsense, which is connected to satellites that are put out there by Globalstar, and they're not in low Earth orbit. They're like in mid orbit or even geo orbit, like way up there, like tens of thousands of kilometers compared to 500. So extremely slow. They'll never have anything available besides texting. They're not going to ever be able to do calls or anything like that because the latency is through the roof. So yeah, Elon Musk, SpaceX's DTC service is the way to go. There's nothing better than that as of right now. There's other companies that are trying to compete, but they just don't have enough satellites up there yet, and that's the problem. That's like Jeff Bezos trying to compete with SpaceX Starlink with his Project Kuiper bullshit. He doesn't have a single satellite on orbit, not one. He had 2 prototypes and he threw them away. He let them burn up. I mean, it's just crazy. People are like, we want competition. We want Bozo over there to be able to do, I don't know, competition with this Project Kuiper. It's not. I predict it will never happen. I don't think it will ever happen. Yeah, we'll see. I could be wrong. It's possible. Let's see. The Mr. Rail Dude 64 says Starlink direct to cell service that DTC is expected to be available in Canada through Rogers. That's right, it's Rogers. Thank you for that. Yes, it is Rogers. Rogers is the other player. Like T-Mobile in the U.S., Rogers is the other certified or authorized DTC service provider for SpaceX Starlink. Robot Andy, thank you for being here, Robot Andy. Kamikaze Ozzy is here. Let me see. Peter. Get back in your box, pretty much. Peter, I need to stay in my box. I need to stay in my box. If not, YouTube doesn't like it. They just do not like it. Let me just ask you, in the chat, would you like me to do, obviously they won't get views, but would you guys be interested in me doing content on other tech, like robotics and like AI and all that kind of stuff too, besides SpaceX Starlink? And of course I do Linux. That's another big one for me because I enjoy it and I like to teach people. So I'll be doing more Linux. But are you guys into other tech? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Let's see who else is here. If you have a question, put a Q before your question or at JCristina. I'm going to get out of here in like 5 minutes. I've been on for like almost 2 hours. But you know, I just wanted to make sure that I get to all of the questions. I'm going to try my best. If I missed your question, put the question in there right now. Okay, put it in there. Give me a little Q before it or at JCristina. This way I can see it. Ricky Joe says they're newer taught. They never taught me cursive in school. I still haven't learned cursive yet. And isn't that just crazy? Like, I don't even know. Like, back in the day, people used to write beautifully. They used to not only write cursive, they would write in calligraphy. You know, just absolute beautiful penmanship. Now, it's just a hot-ass mess. I don't know. Peter says, I think the T1 cost you between 1K and 1.5 per month. You were right. You're right. It was $1,280, Peter. $1,280. T1 was sweet back in the day. It was, absolutely. I still have that T1 router in the garage. Let's see. Moving on. T9 line. Wow. Yeah, we had a buddy of mine had a T3. That was like big shit at the time. That was a lot. Let's see. Bob. Bob says, "Are you ready for Blue Ghost to land on the moon?" Yeah, I was. Matter of fact, where is that? Did they have that on here? Let me just switch over. I'm on SpaceX's X page. SpaceX's X page. You know, let me see. Did they have? I think they had that on here. Where is it? Is this it? Here it is. Holy shit, guys. There it is. Let me see. Let me click on this. I'll just leave this on the screen. Is it up there? Did it show? Let me see. I think it's too wide. It is too wide. Damn it. That's all right. Well, let me see if I can shrink it. Will it allow me to make it a little bit bigger? Probably not. Probably not. Anyways, it's right here. So you guys could watch this. If you go over to what Peter was talking about, was this, I think it was Peter. Was it Peter? Talking about this landing on the moon deal. Yeah, so what this is they are launching, or they did, when was it? A couple of days ago or something? And here's the video right here. So if you go to the X page and then you go to SpaceX, okay, and you scroll down, you're going to see this IM-2 mission. That's what he's talking about. That's the mission, and they're landing on the moon. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. This is all this pre-launch stuff. There you go. Anyways, I'll just let that run. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, go check that out. Go to x.com/SpaceX and you'll be able to watch that. They just launched a Falcon 9 with cargo that is in a lunar, or will be in a lunar orbit, lunar path that will get to the moon. So yeah, they just launched something to the moon. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. We're going to have to colonize the moon before we decide to colonize Mars. That's for sure. We need a landing zone. We need a stop. We need a stop off. And the moon would be a good stop off. Kind of like hang out, refuel. They're going to be refueling on orbit. That's one of the things that they're going to be testing too, is moving fuel on this next IFT-8. Moving fuel is very, very important because you're going to be moving fuel with zero gravity. It's a little bit different. Let's see. Kamikaze Ali says, you remember when, or do you remember how much power was used to push the T1 line? I don't remember what I don't remember what the power was, but I know it was more than UVerse. It was a good amount. And I remember the guys were saying that, the line guys, the line crew at the time, the linemen, they said that they would get a good zap from a T connection, a T1 connection, in comparison to the regular phone lines where it's not that much. Let's see. Moving on, getting to the end of the internet here, Yeah, guys, subscribe. If you've been hanging out and you're not subscribed yet, definitely subscribe and hang out with me on Monday, okay? Monday is the day. IFT-8, there is a lot that's going to be going on Monday. It's going to be a big day, and I think I'm going to go live earlier than normal because there's so much that I want to talk about, and maybe we'll watch like someone else's broadcast while we're just sitting around chatting or something, or I'll throw on, because SpaceX doesn't go live until 40 minutes before launch. So once they, just so you know, once they start talking, then what I will do is I'll kind of tune them a little bit down, and I'll still talk over them a little bit, but I'll kind of give them the floor. And then as we get closer to T-minus 2 minutes, I will start saying less and less and less until finally I'll give them the floor completely. We'll go full screen so you can see the entire process of the launch. And then we'll do commentary kind of like after or during while this is all going on. And I just absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. And there's normally like 300, 400. There was one time we had like 700 plus people on the show. So it's really good. It's a big time, big day, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. So if you guys are interested, definitely on Monday evening, probably afternoon, probably like maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock, 4:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere on there, I'm going to go live. So be here. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and then click the notification button. After you click the notification button, click all. Because if you don't click all, for some reason it doesn't work. Once again, YouTube, just fix it. Man. Anyways, guys, listen, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for everyone for the super chats. It is so, so helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely have this new deal going on here. We got Glenn as the new subscriber. Thank you once again being here, Glenn. Peter, with your super chats and gifting all those 20 memberships to everyone. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all of the support for the channel. Thank you. And everyone else that has given the super chats. They really do help. They help a lot. Anyways, I hope you have an absolute blessed, wonderful weekend with your friends, family, hanging out, eating, drinking, being merry, right? Before you have to start work all over again on Monday. So enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one. Many blessings, guys. Take care.